10 seconds of nature, that's what you just watched. Did it make you feel calm, happy, or focused? These feelings, among many others critical to a high quality of life, are lacking in today's human experience. Americans spend over 90% of their time inside.
How often do you get outside?
Oh, all the time. I was outside just the other month.
Daily screen times are reaching averages of 7.5 hours for adolescents and 10.5 hours for adults.
You don't know how much I want to pull my phone out of my pocket right now, even though I know that we have no service.
Park visitation and participation in outdoor activities have been steadily decreasing for decades.
I'm just going to hold your hand and I'll bring you around and have you feel different things.
When was the last time I picked up a rock?
Put your hands out.
Wrapping paper.
That's good. Listen,
cellophane.
feel it.
Sand from a beach.
It is no wonder contemporary society deals with the physical, emotional, and cognitive ramifications of the lack of something so fundamental as nature. Over the past decade, there has been an increase in research on the health benefits of nature, with ecotherapy and nature prescriptions gaining traction mainly in Japan, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Nushin Razani is an Iranian-American pediatrician who often prescribes nature to her patients, mainly from low-income inner-city backgrounds. I'll let her explain why spending time in nature is so important.
So there is a place or a thing that all humans needed to be in order to properly develop empathy, communication, creativity, the ability to self-soothe, and we're missing it. And now if you take a modern person into that same thing, they become happy, relaxed, and smarter, and it's free. I was like, I gotta get this to my patients immediately.
The need for these natural benefits is especially critical during child development. This is Ben Klasky, a CEO of a nonprofit organization that helps youth get outside, explaining why.
The number of kids that are getting outdoors every day has dropped in half compared to their parents. In that same period, in just one generation, just 30 years, the rates of child obesity, they've gone up. They've tripled. And perhaps an even more alarming rate is that the number of kids that are on Ritalin have skyrocketed 40 times to treat ADHD. You know, it is no coincidence that Rich Louv, the author of Last Child in the Woods, coined a term, nature deficit disorder, to describe this problem.
Nature deficit disorder is not a psychological term that's rated on a psychological scale.
But it's something that you might tell someone they have.
Right.
But it's a treatable disorder.
Definitely, yeah.
Ecotherapy, the way that I practice it, is that I connect your health and your wellness to deepening your connection to nature.
Being in nature is therapeutic, but ecotherapy tends to be more with some kind of a professional that is supporting another person to actually deal with something that's going on for them that's challenging.
Ecotherapy and just spending time in nature has so many benefits. The first is, it can make us feel good. It decreases depression while increasing vitamin D. It also helps with cardiovascular health by reducing blood pressure. If you're stressed, go outside. Japanese researchers found that when people spend time outdoors, it lowers stress hormones from the sympathetic nervous system and increases the use of the parasympathetic nervous system. Nature also helps strengthen the immune system. It's been shown to increase the number and activity of NK cells that fight off infection and bacteria, preventing illnesses like cancer. Lastly, nature boosts creativity and brain function, such as in problem-solving activities.
Let's say, for example, you go into a forest. Within minutes, your heart rate will come down, you will breathe slower, you sweat less, and cortisol, the stress hormone, starts decreasing. You may be lucky enough to have the feeling called awe. Psychologists break awe down to mean a combination of fear and happiness and pleasure all at once. And after people feel awe, their focus moves from internal to external. And so anxiety and depression go down, and people feel more empathy just from having a split-second experience of awe.
When we combine being outside of our comfort zone, something that can be associated with the feeling of awe, with the stimulation of the parasympathetic nervous system, or the rest and digest nervous system, we are relaxed and attentive enough for peak learning and creative abilities. The unique and unpredictable sensory-rich environment of the woods is the perfect effector in this case.
After about an hour outside, you may find that half of that hour was physically active. And when you're out in nature, your mind is restored. After 15 to 20 minutes walking through trees, you will have a bigger attention span. You can solve more complicated tests and puzzles. But after 3 days, the prefrontal cortex, the part of you that's in charge, it relaxes. It's reset. And that's when you have your most creative and productive time. If you can clear your head by taking a tree bath for 3 days, you will be at your most productive.
So now that we know some of the benefits of nature, let's connect it back to child development and nature deficit disorder. Children today are growing up in the digital age. Many are getting less than an hour outside each day. For centuries before, self-directed outdoor play was how children strengthened their bodies, learned self-regulation, social participation, creativity, and problem-solving skills. The time children are spending outside has been reduced by half over the past 20 years. Many children now are skipping a critical developmental phase called place attachment. During this time, children attach to a place where adults don't dominate. They in turn grow up to feel more emotionally secure and want to take care of their place and nature. In short,
This is your kid, and this is your kid on nature. You know, if we actually did that ad campaign, we'd have to be honest and show the side effects that happen when you're on nature. Warning, the outdoors can improve your physical and mental health. Your body will produce vitamin D when you're outside. You'll have lower rates of heart disease and osteoporosis and MS and some forms of cancer. You're going to be moving when you're outside, so you're less likely to get obese. You'll have more positive moods, lower stress, anxiety, and compared to a control group, kids on the outdoors, actually, they could focus a little bit better, especially if they had ADHD to begin with.
the natural connection between child and nature supports a mutual symbiotic relationship. Here is ecotherapist Phoenix Smith discussing how this relationship can be extended into adulthood.
The way that I view ecotherapy, it's not just about your own particular issues. That's what people come in with. But what I'm hoping is that I can awaken and raise your consciousness about what's happening on the planet. It's an easy way to support the well-being and resiliency of all people.
So what can we do to reap these benefits?
We tend to be very impatient. We're plugged into our phones to the internet where we can get information like that. Nature doesn't work like that. It takes time for the body and mind to settle into something, so I would encourage you to find a spot. And when you're at that spot, sit there for a minimum of 20 to 30 minutes.
Just 10 minutes even, walking along somewhere beautiful, and you can feel different.
Do you remember this clip that I showed you before? Studies show that the therapeutic quality of nature is so powerful that even exposure to it in the form of images, recordings, and clips like this can reduce heart rate and blood pressure, enhance attention, and distract from pain.
You don't have to be in a national park to benefit from the beauty of the outdoors, to get sun on your face and to develop vitamin D and to get exercise, you just need to go right in your backyard. All you have to do to get outdoors is to simply step out your door.
So what are we waiting for?